ship the units out, we snap the trays onto the wire. That way they don't get all jumbled up in the box. But that means you have to take the trays off the wire, and that's where you kind of learn exactly how they work. The trays are snapped on, and you have to loosen the feet on these, and then they come right off. So the feet are what's snapped on, and then the tray lifts right off. So this is a stack of trays I just took off really quick, and this is the empty wire. And one thing I need to point out is the trays go on the empty wire with this wire out towards you. But everything works better if it's set up in that orientation. So, all set? Okay, so I happen to have a really nice spot that gets a little bit of sun on my patio fence, and this is a great place for me to install this. I can install the mounting cleats right on the wood, so it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to make a couple of marks here as to where I want this, so I can get my cleats and get ready. Okay. This is our mounting cleat that we designed and manufactured specifically for the Varden set, and it enables the mounting of this 2-foot by 3-foot piece of wire, and it also enables it to do a couple of things. If it's on the inside, if the flange is on the inside, this enables you to butt up successive sets next to one another and make a much bigger wall without being able to tell that you've put different kits together. The other thing is, if you have it on with the flange out, that enables you to add an additional trim kit that we've got for the system, and it will attach partially to the screw heads on this part right here. So what I'm going to do here, I may add a trim kit to this later on. So I don't have room to butt two of these up next to one another. So I'm going to go ahead and install mine with the flange out, and this is the proper position for that. It's going to be right underneath this first wire here, and we're going to run it out just like that. So what I want to do is I want to get this about the height that I need it, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark my holes on that. And that should be good for now. So you'll need to pick the fasteners that work for you. In this case, I picked a fastener with a head on it that's similar to a washer, and it works really good for this wood. So I'm going to go ahead and install this one cleat, and then I'll hang the wire up and use that to mark the other cleat. So we have slots instead of really precise holes, and that way it enables a little bit of field adjustment, and that way you can move it in and out, up and down, in order to accommodate the way you want. One thing you want to do is you just want to make sure that you've got this relatively level. It doesn't have to be perfect, but relatively level, and that way the water in the bottom of the trays when you irrigate doesn't necessarily run from one side to the other. And we want it to sit in the bottom holding areas of the tray so that the plants get a chance to take up the moisture well. Okay, so we know we're come up down just a little bit. Okay, we're level right there. We got the other side attached. So now we can mark this. We're going to put the other one on. We marked it, and again, I'm not going to run it on there really tight, and that way we can move it around a bit. So now, you see we've got a little bit of play in this, and I want to get my level back out. It's in the right spot right now. we needed the adjustment in this. I needed to loosen it and tap it up just a little bit, and now we're right on. You know, we can set the level right there on that crossbar, and we're as level as we need to be. Actually, it's perfectly level, but it doesn't need to be that good. But anyway, you can see the cleats are getting the job done. So in this case, I've got the upper ones on, so I just want to get this engaged, get the slot engaged. We're always going to attach one wire down from the top and one wire up from the bottom. And you know, once we had this thing hanging and level and right, then it was pretty easy to get this in place and mark it. But you want to have this wire sitting right here in the receiver slot of that mounting cleat, just like it is up here. So it's bearing a load on all 4 points. So now we're going to put the trays back on the wire. And now since you took them off the wire, you kind of know how they go on and they snap on. Here's the finer points. You always want to make sure this wire is out towards you. So this is the horizontal wire and it's out towards you. And you always want to start from the bottom. You can do it from the top, but it's just not simple. So the way you do it is you put the hands on first, you rotate the wire in, and then you grab it here, and you get an audible snap. And those feet snap under the wire, and then they're held in place. Come on. And this goes pretty quick, and actually, it's probably my favorite part. It's fun. These, put them on, both on a row, and then snap them. See that they don't come off side to side or up and down. They are on there, and they're not coming off. And they're designed specifically to fit this wire, and this wire is designed specifically to carry this load and be uniform. So. And then do this one. And then the last Varden 6 tray. Boom. All right. So in the box is a 5-foot piece of supply line tubing. It's got an end plug on this end and on the top end, and then it's got a hose fitting on the other end. Now this can be cut off, and this can be attached to regular site irrigation, or another type of fitting can be put on. But this is for somebody like me that's just going to hook a hose to this and water this as needed. You're not going to want to spray this because water just runs off and it's a waste and it makes a mess. If you run it through the drip lines, you'll see it's extremely efficient and it waters right where the plants need it. So this line has been pre-punched. So the holes are pre-punched in there at the right spot. And then the kit also came with the drip lines that are all set with all the proper fittings on there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this drip line, and this is the fitting that connects the drip line into the supply line, and I use that existing hole and it snaps in. So then I come over here and I run it through the grommet that's built into the tray, and I go from one side to the other. And I've got an end plug on this side of it, and there it is. So that kind of sets I'm at that elevation and I want to hold it in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run a zip tie that's included in the box around this whole thing and hold it up here at this elevation. I don't have to get it super tight, but there it is. So now I've got it held in place. Everything's in. There's 2 drip emitters in each tray, and everything's aligned properly. And I will cut this tag end off later when I'm done and I'm cleaning everything up. So now I've got my extra zip ties here. I pretty well know how this is going to go. I'm going to zip tie this in place in 3 spots: top, middle, and bottom. And then you see we've got enough extra there to, you know, easily connect to the hose and no big deal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get another one of my pre-cut, pre-plumbed drip lines, and I'll run it through here. And then, voila, pops in, all set. So these drip lines have quite a bit of memory in them, as does the supply line. So a warm day works really, really good. But they flatten out pretty easy. So I'm gonna go from the other end and run it through, run it all the way through, and then you punch it in till it pops. And we're all set with that one. Yeah, it's nice and easy. This is a small set. It's only 2 feet wide, so it's pretty easy to stand in one spot, thread the drip line through, and then this fitting, you could punch it, you know, it's pointy and sharp. You could punch it through there, but we've pre-punched it so that it's really easy to do so. And that way you don't have to struggle with it. So I'm gonna put another zip tie on here on the bottom. In this particular case here, I'll just do it around this way. This just keeps everything snugged up. Doesn't have to be tight. It just has to hold things on. And then I'll do one on the middle. Just kind of go around the whole thing and hold it in position. There it is. I'm not cranking it down. Use side cutters, but you can use scissors just as well. But I'm going to cut off the excess on these so it looks nice. And there it is. Picking this up. Okay. All right. So it happens to be a nice warm day, and I'm probably going to have to turn this off later so it doesn't freeze. But I'm going to go ahead and hook the hose to the fitting. Okay, so we got my hose hooked to that, and what we're going to do is we're going to power up the irrigation so that we make sure that all the emitters are working properly, and so before you put any socks and plants in there, you know for sure that the irrigation system works. It's the irrigation system's on, and you know, we're supposed to have a sock sitting on top of this, and that holds these down. That one there just wants to, there we go. So you see how it fills up the bottom of the tray first, and you see the way the water will reside in the little squares, and when we get over full, it will run out the back and it'll run out the ends. So you can't get any more water in there than that. And that only takes, this is probably less than a minute. It would take a little longer than that if you had a sock with plants and roots, because it's going to start absorbing. All the way through, it works. Time to shut it off. Right to the unit, or to the, I should say, the Varden set, and see it rolls right in, and we make sure that it's pretty uniform. It's scrunched, everything's in the trays. Now you can see how this is very malleable and will hold down the drip line, but then also kind of mush in the spaces. And now it's really easy to plant right here, or you might put it in just a tray, like a grower tray, and contain it so you can plant all the way to the ends really easy, the center and the quarter points. You can probably get 3 plants in each tray. At the very worst, maybe 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm recommending 6, especially since we're focusing on leafy greens and herbs, which are relatively small.